Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, because there's a lot of them out there. No matter what that condition is, I want you to know that you have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. Well, here on Invisible Condition, we get it. Some days, some days can be tough. Some days are better than others, right? Some days are really, really, really hard. And so I want you to know that there's always hope. Always, always, always. There is always hope. If you are still fogging up a mirror and on the north side of the sod, there is always hope. And if you've lost some of that and you're wondering where the heck your hope went, let me know. I will, you can email me at jeff@hydrowithhope.com and just let me know. Just put hope in the subject line. Let's have a conversation. I don't want anybody to be without hope. So that's a big deal around here. And so I want to make sure I tell you about that. All right, listen, I have a really cool guest today. I'm very excited for you to meet her. Today's guest is someone who truly embodies strength behind the scenes. Like anybody can look good when they're here, when they're in the, the spotlight, right? But strength behind the scenes, a whole different thing. Desi Bolin is a successful entrepreneur, founder and creator of the Catalyst framework, which I'm sure we will talk about, helping leaders scale with clarity and purpose. But what many people don't see is that she's been living with a painful chronic condition called, all right, stick with me here, this is a doozy, hidradenitis suppurativa. I'm gonna confirm that with her. I'm gonna make sure I didn't butcher it. But anyway, that's the name of it. Today, she's opening up about the reality of living with it, and no invisible condition is necessarily easy. So, but you know what? She continues to lead, build, and thrive in the midst of all of it. So it's pretty awesome. I'm excited for you to meet her. Let's bring her on the show here. Did I get that right?
Yes, and I'll say it again just for the audience. It's hidradenitis suppurativa.
Thank you. And we're just going to call it HS now. If it's okay with all of you, we're just going to call it, we're going to go with HS now because that's a mouthful. Good Lord. So, by the way, for everybody that's watching, if you're watching on one of these platforms, thank you for being here. We're so glad you're here. I couldn't even pronounce this condition. So if I have questions about it like that, I'm guessing you might throughout the episode. So if you do and want to share, please comment on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're able to comment on whatever platform you're watching. And thank you for being here. And we'll engage with you as we can and go from there. So, all right, Desi, I got a question I like to ask everybody before we dive into your story. And there's no bad answers. It's all good. On the tough days, on the days that are really that you feel like I was talking about before, like where'd the hope go, right? Well, on those hard days, how do you still maintain hope?
Myself with.
Nice.
Aside from that, it's also the personal growth and development tools that I have in my toolbox that allow me to have hope and strength and faith in myself, right? And that's really the biggest part of it is trusting in yourself and knowing what your limitations are.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's amazing. See, that's a great answer. I love it. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's a big deal, man. I love it. So okay. So by the way, I think I said this before, but if anybody in the audience ever has questions, you know where to put them because we're going to dive in here. So for those who have never heard of HS, see what I did there? I'm not saying the word. What does it actually feel like to live with that every day? Like, paint us a picture. Take us through a day.
Yeah. So for those that don't know who it is, hidradenitis suppurativa (HS) it's a chronic inflammatory skin condition that primarily affects the lymphatic system. But just calling it a skin condition doesn't even begin to cover it, right? It's painful, it's unpredictable, and it's largely invisible to the outside world. For me, it wasn't something I immediately understood. It showed up in ways that didn't make sense at first, right? There's
Sure.
pain, flare ups, there's things that felt isolated until I realized it was actually a condition I'd be navigating long term. And the hardest part wasn't just the physical side of it, it's the silence around it because not many people talk about it openly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty common with a lot of invisible conditions. I hear that so much, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
crazy because, I mean, the condition I was born with, man, it's resulted in 7 brain surgeries so far. It, on average, people with hydrocephalus are having brain surgery every 2 to 3 years. You would think there'd be more awareness around that, right?
Right.
The National Hydrocephalus Association is only staffed by less than 20 people, and they're all remote. They don't even have a headquarters. You know, for a condition that common, I was kind of shocked.
Right.
Same thing with this one. It's like, why are we not talking about this? Why is it not out there more? So why is it not out there? Is it just because people can't pronounce it, or what's the deal?
Well, I do think that's a barrier to it. Um, I think that there's not permission across every invisible condition. You kind of have to create the space, create the bubble, and create the permission to talk about it openly because what I see is in a lot of society,
Yeah.
defects are frowned upon,
Yeah.
right? Not
Right.
by everybody, but largely in a whole, it's a societal norm that to be different is bad.
Is it that that's bad, or that people don't know how to respond to it? Because I think that
I
might
was
be
going
part
to
of it.
expand on that. The
Yeah. Oh,
bad,
sorry.
the bad is more like there's an underlying fear.
There it is. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They don't know
And
what to do
as
with it.
we all know, everybody's unique. Everybody's got their own differences. And what comes out oftentimes and why these things aren't talked about is because there's an underlying fear of not being accepted,
Mhm.
mm-hmm. of being too different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of being looked at as flawed. And it's just not the case.
That's true. It's not the case at all. Have you noticed that people in the outside world, the normal crowd, that maybe don't have that condition, or any individual, any condition at all? Have you noticed on that side, it's very strange too, because they just they don't know what to say,
Right.
and so they say whatever pops into their head at the moment. It's not always
Right.
helpful. And yeah, if you dealt with that too, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean in those instances, yeah, absolutely. They just don't know how to sympathize with it because
Yeah.
they don't live with it and they don't know enough about it. Like with HS, it affects roughly 1% of the population,
Oh man.
which is
Oh,
3 to 4 million people. Yet nobody I have ever talked to knows anything about it,
right. I've never heard of it. Yeah.
including a nurse that I
Oh,
know,
come on.
right?
Um,
It's just not something that's normal, and that's okay, but I'm in the space of being in full acceptance of it, and honestly, I don't care what anyone else has to say, so I share openly.
oh, I knew you were going to be one of my favorites. This is good. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. No, I'm the same way though. Once I figured out that this was like, whatever, man, this is me. Take it or leave
Right, it's part of me. I am
it.
unapologetically authentic in how I show up, and if you don't like it, then okay.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Sorry, not sorry. So, so okay. So when did you? So you obviously you've accepted it. You're rolling with it. You're cool in
Hmm.
spite of it, right? So what? When did you first realize that something was just not going well? Like it just wasn't right, and went
It's
down
more
that road.
recent. I have lived with HS for about 2 years now.
Okay.
It is not something I've had my whole life,
Hmm.
yet it is something that I will probably have for the rest of my life. Right. And what makes it particularly hard is the invisible part, right?
Yeah.
And it's pointing to what we just talked about. People look at you and assume you're fine.
Right.
I'm still showing up. I'm running businesses. I'm leading conversations and being present, and they have no idea what's happening underneath that.
Yeah.
And they won't unless you share about it, right? There's those days I have extreme pain and extreme discomfort. There's also days where I have very little, right? And there's days where my energy is just completely different.
Yeah.
And in reality, there's no visible proof of that.
Right.
So you learn to navigate not just the condition, but also the misunderstanding around it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can almost be if you could just tell somebody this is what I'm going through and they would either understand or just shut up and sit with you and be there and just not just you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
sometimes that's all I want. Just that's sometimes that's all you need is somebody you don't have to understand. You don't even have to try to solve it. Just hang out. Just be here with me in the moment of it, you know?
Yes.
If people would just figure that out, I think we'd have a lot better outcomes with with a lot of this,
Yeah,
you know?
I absolutely agree. And it points to the conversation around acceptance
Yeah.
and also compassion.
Yep. Yeah. Compassion is I feel like compassion, a lot of people don't understand that word. A lot of people don't understand that word because they think in order to show compassion to somebody that's dealing with whatever it is, whether it's, a rough day for you, a rough day for me, a rough day for anybody that's got something like this. I just don't think they know what to do.
Right. In reality, though, compassion is really just being able to hold the space for someone, whoever it is,
You know?
to share openly. It's just creating the container and being accepting of what they share without any judgment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's a
That's
big
what true
deal.
compassion is.
That's exactly it. Yeah, because judgment is even if it doesn't, even if they don't mean for it to come across as judgment. It's like what's the saying? Is it better to stay quiet and have people question it, whether you're a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt?
Yep.
Right, that kind of thing. So yeah, best piece of advice I think I could give anybody in this realm is just shh, shh, shh. Just stop talking. Stop talking. If they want you to talk, they will let you know. They will ask
Right.
you a question, or they will, just sit there. Don't fill the silence. People don't like silence.
No, they don't. It makes them very uncomfortable.
Oh man, even if it's
I
just a few
I
seconds.
do that when I'm
Woo.
running events. I will let them sit there in silence until someone talks.
Whoa, you're cruel. That's awesome. I love that. Well, that works. You know what though? That works in that works in this world. That works in the speaker. Yes, speaking
Hmm.
when you're speaking at events, when you're in the sales process. Oh, mm,
It's a magical tool. As
oh,
long as you have the self-discipline to hold it. I mean, if you break, you're still filling the silence.
yes. First person to talk loses. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a staring contest.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. I am definitely I don't win a lot of staring contests. I don't win a lot of silence contests. So that's still a play area of growth for me. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because that's honestly when I was going through it, man, with some of the crazy stuff that we've had to navigate over the last 10, 12 years with brain surgeries and side effects and stuff. All I really needed was somebody to just sit next to me and let me put their head on their shoulder or whatever and just sit there, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
and
think that's
I would posit too that it's them being there allowed you to not feel alone.
yeah, just being there. There was, in fact, that reminds me in 2013 when this whole surgery thing kind of kicked off, this roller coaster of all these surgeries. In 2013, I my wife just started calling people. She's like, my husband's in the OR. I have no idea what's happening. I don't know when he's going to be done. I don't even know where he's going to come out. Like at the recovery room or whatever. Could somebody come sit with me? And she just started making phone calls. And one person said, "What hospital are you at? I'm on my way."
That's how you know who your true friends are.
That's it. And she just sat there, and to be fair, she's a counselor. So she knew. She's like, "I'm just gonna sit here. You make the first move." Kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean that speaks to another thing that a lot of people don't work on too is cutting out the toxicity.
Okay. Say
And
more about
it's,
that.
I mean, especially when it comes to conditions, if you surround yourself with people who have negative energies, who are essentially poison to you,
Mm.
it is not going to allow you to live your best life with your condition.
Now, when you say poison, are you talking about just generally negative people
The
that,
negative energies, I mean,
or okay,
it's like a poison. It really is like a toxic gas because even though you can't see it, it's there and your body's feeling it.
yeah. So that could be somebody that's maybe like in the cancer world, say, just
Hmm.
as an example, somebody that's maybe beat it. They've removed the tumor, they're cancer free, whatever it is, and they're spending time with a friend maybe that just got diagnosed with something similar. So the toxicity might be them telling war stories, right? Instead
Yes,
of just
that's a good example of a toxicity.
right.
Also, a toxicity could be someone who is always taking and never giving,
Ooh, yeah. That could
right?
look a whole lot of different ways, right? Yeah. Yeah.
A toxicity is really anybody who is taking from you and not giving in return.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that out there.
Yes.
there's a there's a lot out there of that.
I have a very small inner circle of people I surround myself with, and they are carefully chosen.
And that's because you're smart. Because not, I'm just gonna say it. You're smart to do that because you're absolutely right. There's so many people. I mean, over the years, I mean, I know in high school, everybody's like, "Oh, I want to be friends with everybody." And, everybody thinks they're just going to keep in touch with everybody, and oh, we'll never lose touch. My wife and I just had our 30-year high school reunion in 2025, and man, I didn't recognize hardly anybody. I was like, "Who are all these old people?" You
Okay,
know?
so yeah, I mean, to your point, I do have a couple of really good high school friends that I still talk to, but
Mhm.
it's few and far between, right? It's not every day because
Totally.
we spread out across wherever now.
Yeah.
Um, but like for example, I got home from town yesterday and I told my husband, I was like, I'm just feeling really down today. And he said, Don't. I love you. He knows me. He said, Don't. I love
Good.
you. And you're doing great. Right? Because
Yeah.
he knows that's what I need. And it's those types of energies that will uplift and sustain you as you're going through and dealing with whatever comes your way that will make it worth it. Right? Because
Yeah.
it's not just the support, it's also the love and the peace and the serenity and creating a space for yourself that is holistically better than it could have been.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's true. That reminds me of something my my wife said the other day. And same thing. we've like my wife and I have known each other since we were 13 years old. Like we met in seventh grade band class, so we've been around each other a little bit, and so she knows me pretty well. And I was kind of in one of those you get in a funk, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, and my for some reason, and I'm working on changing this because I don't like it, but my go to like kind of almost like fill in phrase is I don't know. I'll just say, I don't
Mhm.
know. Let me just, I don't know. And she looked at me one time. She said, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Uh, you can do this. You can figure it out. And it kind of ticked me off honestly, it kind of made me mad at the time, but she was right. It was, yeah, I knew. I just had to calm my mind a little bit and then I
Right.
could think straight and then I could find what the solution I was looking for.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's,
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jeff. My filler word is I don't care.
oh, yeah, there you
As
go.
soon as I say that, they know something's up.
Oh, but see, that's only a handful of people, right, that know that,
Right.
right? Like, I don't care. Wow, that must go over really well in a crowd of people that don't know you real well, huh? That's
You
that's
know the funny thing is, I really don't care what people think of me.
there it is again. Oh my gosh. Well, it's
Well, and I don't wanna come off as cold, but
I get it.
it's really the mindset that I operate in. I operate with full intention, and I am
Mhm.
detached from the outcome. So in
Yeah.
reality, there is an aspect of me that does not care, because that's how I protect myself.
Yeah. I totally get it, and it's
Yeah.
it just sounds kind of funny. That's all. It's
It
just
does, and
you
I
know.
mean, it's another stigma. I mean, like another a socially unacceptable thing to say that you don't care, but in reality, I am a caring, giving, heartwarming person.
Yeah,
It just comes off that way sometimes, and it
I get it.
really, I'm okay with it because that's who I am.
That is okay, and if you're okay with it, then they better be okay with it. So that's all
Exactly.
right. So, if you don't care. So at what point during all of this did you say, you know what, this is? I mean, I have a feeling it was pretty early in the 2 years of all this.
Yeah.
What point did you go, you know what? I'm not letting this is not going to be this is not going to control me. This isn't going to define me.
Mhm.
I'm just going to okay, it's something I deal with, but full steam ahead.
Right. Right. Before I answer that, Jeff, I want to say that there is mental affections and emotional affections to the
Mhm.
condition, right?
Okay.
Those components, they definitely don't get talked about enough. And my doctors, they didn't prepare me for it, right? And me being kind of on the more holistic, whole, all natural side, I wasn't going to put medication with bleach in it in my body. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, but
good.
the emotional and mental side of it, it can really, really impact your confidence, and it can impact how you feel in your own body. There's moments of frustration, especially when HS flares unexpectedly, which does happen. It's
Mhm.
not usually a slow progression. Oh, it's coming again. Usually it pops up overnight,
Yeah.
right? Or it pops up in the middle of the day. Just depends. Um, but I've also, speaking to that, I've had to build a different kind of relationship with myself through it.
Sure.
And it's more one that's rooted in listening to my body instead of trying to fight it constantly, instead of pushing through. So it's been a growth experience as much as it's been a challenge.
Oh yeah.
And on terms of, how I keep it going, I recognize my limitations. I've had to build my life and my businesses differently.
Sure.
I don't have that luxury of ignoring my body and just pushing through, right? I've been through burnout 3 times. It's not fun. I'm not gonna do it again now that I have a condition,
Right.
right? I'm very, very present to that.
Yep.
And in reality, that doesn't work long term. So I've built the systems, the structure, and the support that allow me to still operate at a high level without burning myself out. And because of all of that, I look at the HS as kind of more of a blessing than a curse, because it's actually me a better leader because I'm more intentional with my time, my energy, and what actually matters.
Nice. That is so cool. And I love that you spin it that way because I kind of did the same thing after a little while, you know. Um, it's you have to though. You
Yeah.
have to, or you're just never gonna get out of that hole. If
You'll be
you
in that
don't, if
spiral.
yeah, it'll win every time if you don't
Mhm.
consciously choose to do that. So yeah,
That's why, I mean, it's all about these mindset pieces. Your mind is an incredible thing.
yeah,
This is why I say, whenever anybody asks me, how's my day going? I say, always fantastic, right? And then they say, why do you say always fantastic? And I say, because it's a choice.
yeah,
It is
yep,
a choice to make it a fantastic day. Even if it's a hard day, that doesn't mean that it's still not fantastic. It doesn't mean that I'm still not counting my blessings,
right.
right?
Yeah. Well, and your attitude is really the only thing you have 100% control over. So,
That is so true.
I mean, literally the only thing. Anything else you think you're in control, that's an illusion, boys and
Hmm.
girls. So, yeah, that's the illusion of control. That'll drive you right into the crazy
Right into
really
the
quick.
brick wall.
Or well, yeah, don't do that. Don't try that at home,
Don't do that.
everybody. Please don't do that. Well, well, Desi, man, this is awesome, and I would love to keep going and just blow right through this, but I would like to recognize a couple sponsors here just for a minute. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna take you off the screen and I'm gonna talk to them for just a second. I'll bring you right back. So I'm so glad you're here. This is so fun. Thank you so much for being here,
It is
and
my absolute pleasure.
this is amazing. I'll see you in just a minute. All right, everybody. Holy smokes. All right. Here's the thing. I wanted to talk to you about a couple things. First thing is where did it go? There it is. There we go. Welcome to live TV, everybody. I'm still pushing buttons here. Hydro with Hope. Hydro with Hope is our nonprofit side of our company, and Hydro with Hope is an amazing organization that is standing in the gap for people that are living with hydrocephalus, which is what I've lived with every day. And we want to be there for families. We want to get our resources into your hands. We have an amazing resource called My Hydro Warrior Story, which is a 150-page fill in the blank journal that can help you kind of navigate all that craziness in the hospital. Gives you a lot of places to write stuff down, gets you a lot of places to keep track of who's that doctor, who's that anesthesiologist again, where's all those questions that they're going to blast you with on that follow-up appointment. You can write them all down in the book and be prepared when you get to that follow-up with which always that was always my downfall, because it's brain surgery. Memory is a factor for us sometimes, and so when you can write it down, it's so huge. Also, my wife and I love to spread our story and spread our message of hope anywhere we can. So, funding for Hydro with Hope provides those journals for people going through hydrocephalus, allows for us to be able to bring those journals to people and speak to people at conferences and on shows to be able to spread that message of hope because it's a big deal. Hope is huge. And so we appreciate anything you can do to donate. That is a donation link right there. That's it right there. And you can do it one time, you can do it monthly. We are so thankful for whatever that you can do. So thank you in advance for that. And the other thing I want to talk to you just real briefly about. Where'd that come from? That's not. You can't hardly see that. Well, you can see the logo. Network Referral Group is this group here, and if you noticed at the beginning of the show, it's live from NRG Studios. NRG is a networking group that I am hugely in favor of. It has been wildly successful for me and for my wife. We are both business owners, and NRG is the place to be, man. It is the place that it is the purest form of networking I've ever seen. You show up, you get referrals, you'll build your business. It's honestly, it's ruined me for all of the networking groups. I go to other ones And I go, nope, not as good as NRG. So scan the QR code if you are a business owner or know a business owner that would be interested in something like that, because it is amazing. It is a paid platform, but it is worth every penny. So all right, let's bring her back here. Go for it. All right, man.
Did you
There she
miss me?
is. All right. So, oh, you know what? What I haven't put on here yet is this right here. We gotta put that on there because obviously people are going to connect with you because you're awesome. So, what are people going to find on that QR code when they scan it?
Oh, well, that is a business meeting because we are all business people, and you can absolutely use it to just have a conversation with me.
Mhm.
I'm an
Awesome.
open book. If you can't tell, I will tell it to you straight, and I will be fully transparent in my communication.
I've noticed that. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good
Yeah,
thing. Seriously. It's missing. I think that's one of the things missing nowadays is
yeah.
just
Too many
say it,
people
man.
hold back. Just be
Just say it.
yourself.
Everybody's so afraid of offending people they don't want to say something, just say it, you know? So tell us more about what you're doing here. I mean, what you are doing so much. I mean, I remember the first time I talked to you, my head almost exploded when I got off the Zoom call with you because there's so many things you're doing. We've got virtually sourced LLC, we've got the Catalyst Collective, we've got. I mean, let's dive in a little bit. Tell us what about all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I am currently running 3 businesses. Under one of my businesses, Virtually Sourced, which I've been running for 8 years. I am actually director of operations for 3 companies. So in reality, I'm running 6 companies. But through Virtually Sourced, we build the operational backbone. So it's strategy, systems, automation, infrastructure. And really, it's so businesses scale without burning out the people behind them.
Yes.
Right. You mentioned Catalyst Collective, and I know at the beginning you kind of touched on the Catalyst framework. So I am the creator of the Catalyst framework. In that company, we focus on leadership identity, energetic alignment, and sustainable growth. So it's helping founders reconnect with their purpose so success actually feels like freedom again. And then I I have Catalyst Conversations, which is my podcast and our leadership events, and that's where we really amplify voices, create visibility, and build collaborative ecosystems where leaders really expand their influence and their impact. And I mean, outside of that, I am huge on philanthropy. I work with a few different charities, and I'm a coach for a few other programs.
All right. All right. So not a lot. You just
Not a
kind of.
lot. And I mean, on top of being a homeschooling mama, why I'm always open to more people.
Oh
Come on.
man. Oh man. Okay. And in your spare time, you catch a few winks. I think you said before we started you're what 3 hours last night?
I'm going 3 hours from last night. Yeah. And
Bring it.
honestly, that's because I was stuck in my joy. I read
Yeah.
a lot. And you are the most important part of your life, really.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you don't take time to enjoy the things, I read 300 pages a day, and I do that intentionally
What?
because I do.
Wait.
I'm already 200 pages in today, Jeff.
Wait a minute. Say that was 300 page. How many books do you read in a year? Or do you just
I
go through
have
the
read
encyclopedia?
6 books in the last week. I
Six
have
books in
I
the last week.
typically I read a book a day depending on how big the book is.
And what kind of books do you like? This is okay. This isn't where I was planning on going, but now I'm fascinated. What the heck? Okay. How many? Okay. What kind of books do you read? Are you fiction, nonfiction, business?
I
What do
am
you?
fiction, primarily romantasy, and that's just I love the creativity behind it,
Okay.
right? And it's a
Wow.
portal. It takes you to a whole different world that's fun and exciting. And I'm not saying my life isn't fun and exciting.
Well, of
And
course.
I get really invested in the characters.
Wow.
I mean, it's something that's brought a lot of joy to my life. And I mean, I taught myself how to read when I was 5. I was reading at college level by grade 1.
Yeah,
And
love it.
I just recently picked up the reading habit again. I went years without reading very much, aside
Okay.
from things that I have to read inside of my businesses.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, that was no way for me to live. There was a piece of
Mm.
me missing.
That's so cool. Oh man, that is unbelievable. So I'm gonna I'm an open book too. I'm throwing this out there. Watch out. I've had 15 surgeries. Two of those surgeries were eye surgeries, and so because of the trauma to the brain when I was, born, and with the causing of the condition and all that stuff, my eyes were just a mess when I was a kid, and so I've had two eye surgeries, and that has virtually eliminated my ability to use them together. And so I like, you're supposed to be able to like diverge your eyes, do the cross-eyed thing. You should be able
Mhm.
to, you do that, and then you can see like those magic eye pictures and 3D movies, and all that's lost on me. I can't use them together. I can only use them separately. So I can see out of both, but I can't use them together. So so reading is something that has suffered as a result. So I have a few. In fact, I have them in this room. I've got like three or four or five books that I absolutely love reading over and over, but it takes me forever. So Audible became my new best friend.
Mhm.
And so, but that's an expensive habit.
It
Um,
can be. It can be. See,
so
you mentioned I'm smart. I go thrift store shopping for my physical books because my thrift stores locally do $1 a book, no
there
matter
you
what
go.
size they are. So I bought 22 books the last time I went for $23, right?
Yeah.
And then I do
Okay.
have Audible because I have actually several apps that do audiobooks because
Sure.
they're different genres and different price points and everything, but I oftentimes will throw on an audiobook
Oh, there
while
you
I'm
go.
working, and oftentimes it makes me more productive.
Nice. Well, before you leave and go do the rest of your things for today, after we're done, here today, I would love to talk to you about those additional platforms because I'll tell you why afterwards, but there's one particular book that I can't find anywhere on audio anything, and so I'm hoping one of the other platforms might have it. So, but we can talk about that later. What so we're gonna let's bring it back here. Um, back in the now. So what does a good day look like for you? Like we talked about the bad days. What does an awesome day look like for
Mm,
you?
it's a great question, and it's also a hard one for me to answer
Mm-hmm.
because of the mindset work that I've done. I make every day an awesome day, no matter what.
Right.
I look for the bright spot. But what I will say is it's taught me that strength doesn't always look like pushing harder. Right? Sometimes strength looks like adjusting or honoring what your body needs and still choosing to show up anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, when I follow that, it is always an awesome day, no matter what. Um, I mean, very rarely is there a day where I go to bed unhappy, right? And in reality, for me, an awesome day is being able to serve my clients and deliver and watch their transformations,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And being able to provide for my family. Being the sole income for the house, it's challenging, especially with the condition, right?
Yeah.
And I've had to, not necessarily wanted to, but I've had to do the work to get my mindset right so I could do that without burning out, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, burnout is a whole nother conversation in and of itself, right? But
Yeah.
in
That was,
reality, that's an awesome day. I can look out my door and soak up the nature around me. We have 32 acres, right?
oh,
Um,
awesome.
I can go look in my kids' faces and see the love that's shining through. I can go to my husband and see the support. I am very present to the fact that I have a roof over my head and food in my stomach.
Right.
And that's what makes every day amazing, right?
Nice. Yeah.
And everything else is just a cherry on top. Whatever happens in that day, right? If nothing else, I have a baseline of awesome.
Love that.
Yeah.
Always at a level 10.
Yes.
That's what, that's how I kind of like to say it. What are you playing at today? Level 10. How about you? You know? Um, so what do you think of I don't know why, but something you said just popped this into my head. I thought, we'll throw it out there. You've heard the word spoonie before, right?
No.
You've never heard the word spoonie? Okay. All right. Okay. Here it is. And if you Google it, you'll get bombarded, I'm sure. Spoonie. The only reason I asked is because other guests that I've had over the last several years that have been doing this, they've brought that up, and so I thought for sure you would have. So spoonie. So pretend you're at the beginning of your day. You're up. You just got up, and and somebody hands you a certain number of spoons, right?
Okay.
So as somebody with a condition, lifelong condition, or a condition that you're going to have, something that takes it out of you every day, you might only get 10 or 20 spoons at the beginning of your day. Maybe somebody like my wife who doesn't live with any kind of invisible condition, like she's perfectly healthy, she might start her day with 100 spoons,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you get up in the morning, you get out of bed, you brush your teeth, you make your coffee, you take a shower, get dressed, eat breakfast, whatever. Like, okay, so that takes an hour or two. That for her might take 2 or 3 spoons, right? But for you or me might take 10 out of our 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what do? Then how do you replenish those spoons, right? So that's kind of the concept, is you only have a certain
Right.
number of spoons for the day, and once they're spent, then what? You gotta, you know, system reset or take a nap or whatever. So I was
Right.
just curious if you had ever heard that, or what you think
I
of that
hadn't
concept.
heard it, and I do have tools that I use when I feel myself getting low in energy. One of them being conversation. I know myself, I
Really?
know my human design. I know that I get my energy levels up and I replenish when I'm having conversation with someone. So that's
Nice.
typically why I have between 40 and 50 meetings on my calendar every week, because I know that'll keep my energy levels up and make me more productive in between meetings.
Wow,
Right?
that's a
So
lot. Whew.
it's really about staying present to yourself and knowing, and I mean, like, there are other things like, yeah, I do. Going and taking a shower is rejuvenating. I mean, even if it's in the middle of the day, give yourself permission to do it if it's what works for you to replenish.
Nice. That's awesome. I think that is a great message right there, because a lot of a lot of people that would call themselves spoonies would say that it's like I was one of them. I would feel guilty. I would be angry with myself if I found out that because you don't know when you're sleeping, right? You're not like you don't. So I would pass out. I'd be sitting on the couch or sitting somewhere, and I'd pass out for like an hour and wake up and go, ah, crap, and I'd be so mad at myself, you know. But but to your point, maybe that's what my body needed, and it
Exactly.
kind of did it to me, and because I wouldn't do it for me, right? So
Right. Well, and I would, to what you're saying, Jeff, I would point out too that, and so many people have heard this before, but you are your toughest critic. You are going to be harder on yourself than anyone else in your life.
yeah,
And there's some mindset work and shifts and transformations to be done around that as well.
yeah,
I've gone through several of them. Will my personal growth and development journey end? No, because it's a lifelong pursuit. It's not a one and done, hey, I'm fixed kind of situation. It's a adding tools to my toolbox for me to call back on when life happens, because it's gonna happen.
yeah.
Um like yesterday when I, called on that tool of communication to tell my husband I was in a bad place,
Hmm.
right? It's staying present to it.
Yeah, it's true. And part of that is you and I are very fortunate
Mhm.
in one similar way, is that we have spouses that get it, right?
Right.
We have people that we love, that love us, that understand and act accordingly, and so it's a beautiful thing,
It
you
is a
know.
beautiful thing. And to that I would say, even for those that don't have a spouse, find someone who will be that for you. Maybe it's your
Yeah.
best friend, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's your brother. There is someone in your life that loves you, that will support you and understand where you're coming from and what you need.
Yeah.
You're not
Exactly.
in this alone.
Oh, good Lord, no. No. But when you're in the funk, when you're in that spot, it
Yeah,
feels like you are. And so that's yeah, you gotta, but you know what? It is still a choice, right? Your attitude's the only thing you have 100% control over, right? So
absolutely.
it's still your choice to make that phone call, to call
Yep.
that friend and have them come sit with you or whatever.
Right, and
So
a lot of people are going to come up against resistance to that phone call, right? They don't want to be a burden. They don't want to distract them from whatever's going on in their life. And I bet you if they asked them, they would give you permission to call,
yes, people
right?
want to help. People, in fact, one of that same person that I was telling you about that came that said, "Where are you? I'm on my way." When I was in the hospital, she actually is she's a counselor, but she also did childbirth education for a long
Mm,
time, and she had a book that she would give the parents that were in the class that was basically, here's everything that we need, that we do to run our house, and here's how to do it, so that when people came over, they could put themselves to work and not just sit around and hold the baby and let the mom look around and go, wow, this house is messy and I feel like I clean it, but I don't have the
right.
energy. they they put themselves to work, right? So we need more tools like that, you know.
Right. It's
When
support structures.
yes, that was a huge support structure, and they filled it out before the baby was born, and then when the baby was born, they said it. They just, how you doing? What can I do for you? Here's a book and look through it
Mm,
and do something. You know, people in other areas of life, when people have a baby, people are expecting that. But with stuff like this, nobody thinks of it.
right.
So
And they're not going to know unless you tell them,
right,
right? I mean,
yeah,
some people there's probably someone in your life who will ask if you're okay or if you need anything.
yes,
Yet you also have to be forthcoming and actually ask for what you need, because they're not going to know otherwise. Only you know you.
exactly, exactly. So there's probably people watching that are in this boat, that or they know somebody who would be in this category, that they're silently dealing with something, and they haven't got the support structure, or they haven't found it yet, or they're just silently pushing through, right? What would you what would you say to that person?
Mm, love this question. I really, I really want to drive home that conditions like this exist more than we realize.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are navigating them quietly.
Yeah.
So lead with compassion. Don't assume capacity based on what you see. And I think those with invisible conditions do this a lot more and a lot more frequently.
Yep.
And if you are dealing with something like this, or if someone is dealing with it, know that you're not alone and you're not limited to a small life because of it. At the end of the day, this is part of my life, and
Yeah.
it's not the definition of my life. I can still build, I can still lead, I can still create, I can still live fully. And that's really the message I want people to walk away with.
Hmm. It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. It's oh, I love that answer. It's so good. Um you know what, I just realized we're like we have like 3 or 4 minutes left. This is we're just going right
Where'd
along.
the time go, Jeff?
I know, seriously. I think that I think that almost every time I do a show, I'm like, good Lord, what happened? So in these last 3 or 4 minutes, as if we haven't already, like, you have brought so much value to this conversation. I'm so glad that we got to do this. What in the last, if I gave you 3 minutes, what would be the last thing you'd want to leave with our audience?
Mm. Well, I would say that speaking to visibility, I mean, the invisibility of it, right? Is what people don't see is how it shows up in everyday life.
Yep.
And there are days where something as simple as sitting, moving, or even getting dressed can really feel different depending on what's happening, not only in my body, but maybe yours too, right? And yet
Yeah.
I still have those meetings. I still lead. I still show up. So there's a constant navigation happening behind the scenes. And one of the biggest misconceptions is that if it's not visible, it's not serious. Or that because I can function at a high level, it must not be affecting me that much. In reality, the truth is you can be both highly capable and navigating something difficult at the same time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, there have definitely been moments where I've had to stop and reassess everything. Like, I can't keep operating the same way and expect a different result, right? And that was a turning point for me in how I was building my life and business,
Yeah.
and I've had to design that with more intention. That looks like how I structure my schedule, how I delegate, how I prioritize my energy over just time. And it's actually influenced the way I teach operations
Yeah.
because I don't believe in building businesses that rely on burnout. And I don't talk about this all the time. And really that again is intentional. And I also recognize that not talking about it at all contributes to the silence around it. So it's an important conversation to have for sure. And I
Yeah.
guess the thing that I would say the biggest takeaway is don't isolate yourself in it and don't assume your life has to get smaller because of it. You may need to do things differently, and different doesn't mean less.
Love that, man. I feel like I should be taking notes. Seriously. Man, I hope you guys are taking notes out there. I hope you're taking notes. This is good stuff. Man, um, wish we had 2 hours today. um, thank you. That was amazing. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I totally agree with all of that. And it's so nice when you get to talk to somebody that is not only in the same world that you're operating in and running through that, but they get it, you've like, there's people that have had the same condition for 10 years that haven't quite had to put their feet under them yet.
Yeah.
So it's commendable that it's been 2 years and you're like, it's just, you're incredible. It's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's honestly, Jeff, that's why I speak out about it, because my goal is not only to bring awareness, but it's also to remove shame and show that you can still lead, build, and live fully,
Yeah.
even with the condition that you have.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love it. Well, unfortunately, we are done. We are out of time. And so, but I am so grateful that we got to do this and so thankful for you and your story and your willingness to be an open book, which clearly you are, which is great. Yeah. It's awesome. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my absolute pleasure, Jeff. Happy to do it again anytime.
Bring it on. Awesome. All right. Man, that was so cool. Sorry, I just got to look at something on there we go. Yeah, just making sure I push the right button. I'm telling you, thank you for your patience, everybody. This is a new platform for me. I am so thankful that all of you out there that are watching that have stuck around that have grown with us and grown with us during these last 3 years. Can you believe it? It's been over 3 years. We're in season 7. I still can't believe it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here and for bringing your friends, man. Our audience has grown, and that's thanks to you. And I am so thankful for you. So join us for our next show on Friday, April 17th. Well, I will have an amazing guest with a great story. And until then, I'm going to take that down. Until then, have an amazing day, and we will see you soon.